I'm Stef with User Testing, and we are located in San Francisco, Bay Bridge. Life is rough, and I am here to talk about UX for UX Picnic. I thought it would be fun to share some of my insights and learnings from working on a lot of projects with both internal teams and clients throughout the years, and talk about what it really means to collaborate and to create a better work experience, as well as hopefully resulting in a better customer experience, since the projects that we do really do impact the customer. So the first thing that I like to do is just define goals, and I know maybe that seems a little trivial, but the truth is I don't think we spend enough time on this, and it ends up impacting our project and the success. I use this technique called RACI. It means that I'm thinking about who's going to be responsible for something. At the end of the day, who's going to be accountable for the project and whether it gets done and how it's measured. So I'm using this RACI outline. So the C is for consulting, and that means who are you going to talk with? Who are you going to ask for input, ask for feedback and guidance on? They're going to be the person that you rely on for subject matter expertise. And probably someone that's not going to be responsible for direct deliverables necessarily, but would give you the information or insight that you need in order to make something better. And then we've also got, I just lost my notes because it's kind of windy out here. And then we've also got just being informed, and who do we need to tell about things. Oftentimes we're working so hard to get a project done that we forget to think about the impact of that project on others. So whether that means the clients that we need to inform, maybe it's our stakeholders, it could be others in the organization like our support staff, and how are they going to answer questions that might arise from the work that we've just done. I think taking a minute just to document this and putting it into a Google Doc so you can share it with the rest of the team could save you a lot of headache and heartache down the road, because you'll hopefully uncover any issues or red flags that you might not have thought of right off the bat. So that's the thing about documenting anything, is that the right amount of structure is actually really useful. And I know that people feel like bigger companies, they get hung up in bureaucracy and they get slowed down by that. But there is something to be said with just enough, so that you actually have something to refer back to and you can share it with others. If your team is growing, like User Testing's, every week or two it feels like we have someone new starting, and the ability to share documentation around projects means that they can get up to speed quicker, and you don't have to spend as much time in meetings or just running through things with them. So I do definitely recommend documenting at least the RACI outline, specific deliverables and milestones for every project. And that should include some sort of like decision-making framework around, what are the key objectives and what is your focus. So when you're in a meeting, you're doing a kickoff, hopefully for a bigger project, something to consider is just, defining the milestones and what's really going to be needed in order for you to call this project a success, and then getting buy-in from everybody who's sitting at the table about it. Are they committed, and are they interested in this? Are they do they seem like they're engaged in this project, or is this just another thing that they have to do before they can go home at the end of the day? Sometimes ways around that are to really ask the kind of dumb questions or the stupid questions. I sort of see that as like, I'm kicking off this project, and I see one person in the room doesn't really seem that interested. Maybe they seem a little tuned out, and so I might ask them a question about, does this seem like something that's really up your alley? Is there someone else that I need to talk to about getting this done? And I don't think you have to say it in a mean way. I think it's just being honest about, are you getting the buy-in that you need? Because if everyone's not on the same page when you start out, things tend to go off track really quickly. So schedule your check-ins. If you're going to do a 3 or 4-month project even, then you should consider, how can you set up sort of consistent check-ins with your team to make sure that you're all talking and connecting as needed. And then if you're doing stand-ups, like we do a daily stand-up in our marketing team here at User Testing, make sure everyone understands the purpose of that. We're working with engineers, we've got designers and writers and myself and others on the team. And if it's a bigger project, then we're most often, going to be checking in with each other, through some sort of project management tool. But the point of the stand-up is really to find out what you've done, what you're going to do next, and if you have any roadblocks along the way. And that can uncover a lot of frustration if people are getting off track. So I definitely recommend doing that if you're not already. And then also, as you do that, it means that you can avoid micromanaging people because you'll have all the information that you need already. And people have already bought into the idea of sharing where they're at, and the status updates become more natural and less intrusive. So I definitely recommend doing that, especially if you've got a lot of folks asking you where things are at all the time. Thinking about a more proactive way to provide that information takes you off of the hot seat. So the last thing about that is just providing feedback. And user testing is a feedback platform. That's what we do, but we also try to internalize that and give permission to our colleagues to challenge us and hold us to things, because there's nothing worse than feeling like someone's surprising you with something that you didn't know about. If they tell you 3 months after a project launched that they really can't stand it when you do this one thing, like, it would have been nice to know that up front, right? So we call that being tough and fair. So we often focus on providing feedback as it comes up and as it's needed, and we don't hold each other, it's not personal, right? This is work, this is business, and this is just how we try to get our jobs done. So I definitely recommend finding some way to open up feedback to the team so you can all contribute to each other's success, because if you can give feedback and understand what's going on, you can iterate on your projects and you can do a better job and provide your customers with a better experience, and hopefully you'll have a better work experience too. That's what I got.